Today I'm going to be installing some 3/4 inch thick by 5 inch wide oak hardwood flooring. I'm going to share with you some of the techniques that I like to use for when I'm working in my own home. And this is one of the reasons right here why I do things a certain way, is because we got the little monsters running around with their bare feet. So I got to keep this job site as clean as possible so nobody takes a ride to the emergency room with a staple in their foot. So I'll work in small areas, removing the tack strips and all the staples that were holding down the padding, and then I'll vacuum it up and make sure it's nice and clean just in case somebody comes walking through my workspace. And the warden wants me to tell all you guys that I'm doing this work by choice. I'm not being coerced into doing it. I chose to do this project because this hardwood flooring has been in my basement for 5 years. These moving dollies come in really handy. They got them at the Big Green Box for just a few bucks. And I hate to bring politics into this, but I can't help but think Joe Biden got a lot of flack for taking naps at the White House. And you think about it, when you're working from home and your bed's right here, what the heck? You had some tapioca pudding for lunch, get a little groggy, go ahead and take a little siesta. What's the big deal? You wake up all refreshed, ready to go, and you keep on working. Now that I got the carpet all torn out and got everything all vacuumed up, the first thing I'm going to do is cut these door jambs so I could slide that flooring right underneath there and it looks like a pro did it. My friend the oscillator comes in really handy for jobs like this. Let me tell you, this oscillator, if you don't got one, it's totally worth it. You can buy one for maybe $100. You don't got to buy Milwaukee. You could buy a Ryobi. I won't tell anybody about it. Just don't post any pictures of yourself using it. If your subfloor's got some squeaks, now's the time to address it. Get yourself some 2.5 inch screws. They didn't have any squeaks here, but I figured it'd be fun to have the kids get involved and run some screws in the ground, so eventually they can do this without me and I can retire maybe. In the doorway to the bedroom, the floor should break underneath the door itself, not the center of the door jamb. So I'll have a gap here from where the old tile is, but we're going to be ripping out all that tile, and so the new tile will meet up right underneath the door to the new hardwood. One of the nice things about working with these 5-inch wide boards is that you'll cover a lot of area very quickly. And one of the things you have to do with the wider boards is glue it down. This is 100% required. You don't put any paper on the floor. You must use this glue, or you could end up having cupping. I'm using this Roberts 1487 glue. I think it's the same thing they used to have. It was like a 1407 glue. This stuff is great. It stays kind of gummy, so it eliminates a lot of squeaks in your floor. And hey, look at that. Shelf life of 2 years and a lifetime warranty. How can you beat it? It's an easy water cleanup, so if you get some on your wood or your pants, you can clean it up pretty quickly, but make sure you do wipe it up. You don't want to let it dry and then try to get it off. You'll have some problems on your hands. So I laid this out when I started with that first board by the doorway, that when I got to the corner, I would have a full board here up against the wall, so I wouldn't have any wasted material. If I would have got to this corner and then I had like a 1-inch piece, 1-inch rip along the wall, there's really no good way to secure it to the floor. You could try to nail it or whatever, but the best way is to have a full board so it gives you something meaty to nail into. And I am using 15 gauge finish nails to secure it at the wall. And this Milwaukee gun has a real nice small nose on it where I'm able to nail it on the tongue and sets the nails real nice there. The wood floor is a little bit lower than the tile going into the bathroom, so I'm going to throw a shimmeroo in there to bring it up nice and flush. So I back butter all these boards when I'm working in a space like this. You'll see guys, putting the trowel and the glue out onto the floor where they're working. It almost seems impossible if you ask me to do that when you're working up against the wall here. You end up stepping in it, but the main reason is somebody's going to come walking through here doing some kind of dance, TikTok dance or something, trying to be cool, and they're going to step in my glue and then be tracking it all over my house. So I'd rather have it just under the boards and keep everything nice and clean. Where I got to make special cuts around this door jamb here, I'll do a dry fit first to make sure it fits nice and perfect, and then I'll glue it and slide it in there. Oh yeah, beautiful, just like my face. When you get up to the wall, there's no need to measure with a tape measure. You could just flip the board around with the tongue facing towards you and mark it in place. And you can use your leftover piece to start the next row. This is how I keep my trowel from falling into the glue. Here I am on the other side of the room. These are all my cutoffs. Since they don't have a factory edge on the left side, it's perfect for starting them up against the wall. Here's a little trick if you have trouble getting some of the boards tight. I got this block that I cut at an angle, and then I'll screw down a piece of the flooring, making sure that I screw directly into a joist. It's best to keep the joints in your board staggered at least 6 inches if you can. It makes a nice little stair pattern here, which it helps with your installation. And overall, it helps the appearance of the floor. And I'm sure there's other reasons, but I don't know what they are. I thought I was going to be able to push all the furniture to one side of the room, do half the floor, and then move everything to the other side. But turns out this bed is just way too big, so I'm going to have to take it all apart. This glue dried on the trowel for about a day, and you could just rip it off. It's almost like a bubble gum consistency. Please do not chew it. It doesn't taste good. So now that I got a wide open floor here, this is a great opportunity if you wanted to trowel the glue right down onto the floor. But I like to lay out a bunch of pieces ahead of time, get them all in place, and I could just glue them as I go. Here's another example of how I'll close this gap. So this is a rustic plank flooring. You could pretty much do anything to this. You'd never even know if there was any damage, but I do like to keep everything on wheels, move it around nice and easy, and save me some effort. I'm using a stapler to secure these boards down along with the glue. There's probably a huge debate out there, cleats versus staples. I don't know, I've used them both. Had this gun for probably close to 20 years. $500 back in the day. I think you could buy one of these guns now for just a couple $100, maybe even less, or rent one for the day from a rental place. But either way, cleats or staples, you got to glue this stuff down.
Subscribe!
So we've made it across the room to the floor vents. I'm going to be using these oak vents from the Home Depot. These go in there and lay nice and flush with the top of the floor. Hopefully I could find some stain to match. So these vents are big enough to give you some wiggle room here. Here I was able to put the vent in right after this row, and then I could just continue on around it, saving me a few cuts. It was kind of tight on the back side of the vent up against the wall. Only had about 3/4 of an inch of flooring, but it all worked out. If you need to tighten up the gaps, just put a couple boards against the wall so you don't mess up your trim. And they do make a palm nailer that you can use to put cleats in there and these tight spaces up against the walls and that. But I'm just going to use my nail gun and face nail it. And everybody can write about it in the comment section. So this is nice and easy here. You could just butt these boards right up to this vent frame. No special cuts or anything. Nail them right down. Go ahead and roast me. And when you get up against the wall here, I put a bevel on one side of the board so it lays in there more better. Since it was still a pain in the butt to get in and out, I'm going to rip off the bottom of the groove, and that should just let it drop right in, and we could glue it down. You won't have anything to worry about. Usually have to do a few test fits just to make sure, because if you're off just a little bit on these cuts, you're really going to notice it on this frame here. So take your time, and if you need to take a little nap, go ahead. I won't tell anybody. And I can see I was already getting some comments on a short that I didn't remove the baseboards, but on a remodel like this, we never remove the baseboards. We just cover the edges with some shoe mold, nail that down, and I will caulk and paint everything, and we'll be all wrapped up. And just one final thing before we go, check your boards before you install them, because you could have some discoloration like this here. I didn't notice it when I was installing the boards. Of course, the warden has alerted me of this after everything is all installed, and I'm not going to rip it out, so I'll just listen to her talk about it for the next 20 years. All right, guys, that's it. I'll see you next time.